Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's up? So it should be no surprise to me because of the videos I've made lately that people are attacking me by calling me a sellout and a coon and an Aunt Tom, Uncle Tom. And it's funny. It doesn't even bother me. It's like a retarded person saying that I'm stupid. They're like, oh, you're stupid. Like, so? Okay. You know, it's like the elephant man's calling me ugly. It's like Medusa telling me that I'm having a bad hair day. You know? Takes one to know one. And, you know, I'm an adult, so unlike the people that are doing the name calling, I have pretty good coping mechanisms, and I'm not going to crawl into a corner and cry, you know, because people in cyberspace are like that, have no profiles and fake names are calling me names, you know. You know, I'm an adult, you know, sticks and stones, I can defend myself, I'm alright. So but it used to bother me, and this is why I'm making this video, because I want to share a story with you. It used to bother me, and when I was younger, I learned this life lesson really early. I'm so glad and super grateful that I learned this probably about like 11 or 12 years old. There are a lot of life lessons that I learned really late, but this one I learned really pretty early on. So when I was growing up in LA, most of my friends, the first part of my life, maybe like when I was about up until about 10 or 11, all my friends were like Latino or they were Asian, because I grew up in this part it's now called Koreatown. At the time it wasn't called Koreatown. It was just an area where I should straighten my seatbelt. It was just an area where a lot of immigrants live. So a lot of my friends were like first generation, second generation Americans, or they were just straight like fresh off the boat in America. So and it wasn't a big deal. Like, nobody ever made me feel like it was an issue. Like, I can't complain about that, but I did notice it. You know, kids notice stuff like that, and I noticed it. I was like the only black girl in the school except for another guy who was in the 6th grade when I was in the 1st grade, and he was like way older than me. And you know, that was pretty much it. So when I went to junior high, about 11, 12 years old, I went to school with other black kids, and I was super excited because I don't know why. I was excited, and I wanted them to like me so bad. I tried so hard to please them, and you know, I was already geeky. Like, I had a headgear, I had glasses, like acne, like I was just toe bag. So not only did I get bullied for my looks, but I also got bullied because I wasn't black enough, you know, whatever that means. So you have these people called the blacker than thou people, which my uncle loves to call them. He calls them the blacker than thous. I love it. It's like the best term. So the blacker than thous would constantly bully me and push me, and you know, I would try to please them, you know, but nothing I did was ever good enough. Like, you know, I would try to talk black, but it wasn't good enough. I would try to dress black, but it wasn't good enough. And you know, even for my interests and my ideologies that I like, and you know, they would tease me because I like classical music. I like hip hop and all that stuff too, but I also like classical music. I also like art and philosophy and things that weren't black. You know, I didn't fit into the box. You know, I wasn't brainwashed to fit into this little box that you're supposed to fit into. Obviously the only, you know, you're supposed to dress like a slut and listen to music that degrades your soul all the time and talk with improper English. I mean, I guess that's what being black is supposed to be, and you're supposed to be a Democrat, and you're supposed to call anybody else that doesn't agree with you a coon or a sellout. So by the end of the first year, I was just tired. I was done because it was too tiring, and I felt like my soul was being sucked out of me. And I was just like, you know what? I just want to be me. I don't care if people call me names, and I'll just have to deal with it. But I mean, it got to the point, even when I wanted to listen to classical music, I would go to the library, I would make copies of classical music on CD to tape, and then I would write some rap star's name on it, just so nobody would know that I'd be listening to classical music. So it's kind of funny now, I can laugh at it, but at the time it was really heartbreaking. because I never expect to experience racism from my own people. But now I'm used to it. And now I also realize that, you know, I'm a member of the human race. I love human people, and I don't serve other black people. I don't serve the blacker than thou people. I serve the truth, and the truth is the thing that keeps me going. What I see as truth, my truth, is the thing that I serve. So it's not, you know, it doesn't bother me. So I keep thinking about this concept of being a coon and a sellout, and it's a very kind of like slave-like mentality meant to keep black people in their place. You know, I'm saying this as a black person. Technically, I'm black. I look black. My grandmother's half white, and all her siblings married people of other races. So my family is mixed with like white people, Asian people, Latino people. I have a lot of people, different races in my family. But physically, I look black. So my experience is going to be as a black woman. I look black. So it's not, so I'm saying this as a black person, but this applies to all races, because I feel like all races have their box that they're supposed to fit into. They're supposed to have certain ideologies that they cling to, and certain beliefs and certain styles, and listen to certain kind of music and do certain things, you know. And if you don't fit into that category, then you aren't good enough, right? And it's definitely a divide and conquer strategy, and I think it's BS. Okay, see, I almost cursed, and didn't curse. I think it's BS, and so I mean, mulling over my head the idea of Coon and Sellout and stuff like that. It just bounces off of me like bullets, you know. People trying to shoot me with verbal bullets, and they're just bouncing off my chest, you know. Boom, 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 boom. Don't really care. It's laughable, because I know that's all these feeble-minded people have. That's all they have. They have like, you know, you have a different idea. They can't ask why. They can't have a conversation. They can't have a dialogue with you. They don't have any curiosity, any imagination, any intelligence. You know, they're filled with anger and ignorance, and it's basically a downward spiral for them. They're going nowhere on a train to just hell. Not like literally hell, but their own hell. I mean, it must be really, really, it's sad kind of too to know that these people, especially adults, like I look at adults and they still care about what other people think of them. You know, people 50, 40 years old that are still like trying to fit in and act a certain way because they're afraid to really say what they think. It's really sad. And for me to come to that realization when I was like 11 or 12, it was really, really liberating in so many ways. I can't even tell you. So I think that it was like going back to Coon and Sellouts, right? So I lived in Taiwan for 2 years, and Taiwan they have fruit stands that sell fresh fruit all over the cities. And I went to this particular fruit stand because she would always play Michael Jackson music, and granted, you know, Michael Jackson was called a sellout and a coon, and he had other issues. I mean, that's a whole other video within itself. But I go to the fruit stand, and I'm trying to talk to the lady in English. She doesn't understand English, so I was like, Michael Jackson. She's like, Michael Jackson, ah! And she starts like moonwalking and like doing like the thing where she's trying to like throw her hat off and stuff, and you know, trying to show me that she loves Michael Jackson. So I'm thinking of like Michael Jackson and how much impact he's had over people, over this whole like what am I trying to say? The whole universe, not universe, but the whole planet, right? There, people on the other side of the world can't even speak English, and his music has had influence over them, right? I mean, but yet he's a coon and a sellout. I'm thinking of Ben Carlson, who's been called a coon and a sellout. He's a Republican. He's a oh God, what's the word? He's a neurosurgeon, and he has separated twins. He's one of the top neurosurgeons in the world, but he's a coon and a sellout. You know, Shaquille O'Neal, who's had the honor of playing with the Lakers, who's, you know, I've never heard anybody say anything bad. I'm sure about Shaquille O'Neal, I'm sure he's had his days, but I've never heard anybody really say anything bad about him. Christmas time, he goes to the ghetto and he gives kids toys and feeds the homeless and stuff. And so, you know, he's down to earth. Not only is he an amazing athlete, he's down to earth, but yet, you know, he's a coon. Mae Jemison, the first black woman in space, super intelligent. She speaks Russian and English and Chinese fluently. She's a dancer and a doctor and an astronaut. But, you know, she's a coon and a sellout. So, I mean, I'm actually starting to wear these words of honor as an honor, because it seems like everybody that thinks outside of their little box that they're in, you know, has the audacity to think for themselves, has the audacity to speak truth. They're called coons and they're called sellouts. So yeah, guys, thanks. You know, I'm on the right path. And this goes for anybody of any race who's watching this video. Know if your own people, quote unquote, are calling you names because you have a different opinion of what the popular opinion is, that means that basically that you're on the right track. Okay. And just another note, and commenting on the imaginary skinhead invasion that's hitting our country right now. The delusional imaginary skinhead invasion. I'm not saying there aren't skinheads, but we're not being overrun by skinheads. We're being overrun by antifafas, as I call them jokingly. You know, they're the ones that sent terrorist threats into the people that are marching on Google. They're the ones that tried to burn a whole darn city down. They're the ones that were blocking people from trying to get inside to speak and sending death threats to people like, you know, Milo Yiannopoulos and Uncultured just for wanting to speak, you know. You know, and these people, they don't even know how to protest, okay? They're like, you know, when you protest, by the way, anti-fafas, any anti-fafas watching this video, when you protest, note to you, okay? You're supposed to stand on the side and you're not supposed to involve other people that don't want to be involved. That means you don't block the entrances to doors and buildings, because that's going to make more people hate you. You know, but hey, you know, you're doing us a favor. And basically, the anti-fafas, they're the terrorists, they're the cowards, they're the ignoramuses, they're the monsters, they're the demons, okay? They're the cowards. I would rather be called a coon than being called any of those things, because it seems like, from my analysis, coons and sellout actually make a difference in the world, as opposed to terrorists, cowards, monsters, and demons. You know, they're kind of, you know, on the par of Nazis. You know, you're basically becoming what you hate. What you're fighting against, you're becoming what you hate. And remember, law of attraction, you're fighting against something that you hate, you become it. You become it. Okay? That's it. All right, peace, food, love you guys. Mwah. Bye.